We're going to get our feet a little bit wet now, learning about the ninth annual, I guess I should say ninth annual, but it's the ninth international Azorean Whaleboat Regatta. It's happening this year in New Bedford, and it's happening September 6th in locations around the city. There'll be events around the city, but will the competition actually take place in Clark's Cove? Is that right?
It will.
All right. My guests are Sara Quintal and Lara Harrington. They are both involved with this year's event. I understand, ladies, it alternates every year between the Azores and New Bedford. This year, it's happening in New Bedford. How many teams are participating? How big is this event? Let's start with Sara.
Sure. So this event happens every other year. So 2 years ago, we were in the Azores competing in the islands of Fayal and Piku, and this year the teams from both of those islands are going to be coming here. So we have 2 days of pure Azorean whaleboat racing, in which we have the 3 international teams competing against one another. And then on Sunday, we have another very special race called the Dabney Cup, in which we have a total of 6 teams that are comprised of local teams in Yankee boats as well. So we've got some teams from Mystic Seaport and 2 of their Yankee boats, as well as a team from the New Bedford Whaling Museum, because they have their own Yankee boat as well. Right. So we're filling those boats with folks from the New Bedford area who are associated with some of the local rowing teams, as well as even New Bedford Whaling Museum staff, believe it or not.
And again, the competition, the actual competitions, which will take place on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, will take place at Clark's Cove.
Yes, all of them.
Will you be able to see it from the new walkway there?
I think you will. The races do tend to happen more towards the opening of the cove, closer towards the UMass dock. Yep. So the Coral Street boat ramp and the beaches along West Rodney French are actually perfect viewing areas. But I think that you'll be able to see part of the events from the Cove Walk as well.
Because that's a beautiful location.
Mm-hmm.
Just open, as you know. The activities start for this regatta on Wednesday, September 6th. What types of activities are we looking at that? Can Sara handle Lara? Well, maybe Sara should start.
Sure. So on Wednesday we have a really interesting photography exhibit opening in partnership with the Whaling Museum. It'll be an extension of the Azorean Whaleman Gallery that extends into the museum's new wing. And it's going to be a photography retrospective that is really done by 2 National Geographic photographers who have been following Azorean whaling since they were still whaling. So one of our photographers, Lou Mazzatenta, was over there in 1976 documenting the whale hunt and the people doing those whale hunts and village life around that. And then we have Gemina Lewis Garland, who came back in 2012 to photograph those same whalers post-whaling. So whaling only ended in 1982 in the Azores. So she came back and did a follow-up with those same whaling communities.
All right. Lara, are you actually competing in these races?
I am. I'm in the women's rowing team.
All right. And that will be, checking quickly, Friday
at 9 a.m.
Friday
Clark's
at
Cove.
9 a.m. What's it like in these? Listen, I've seen pictures of people working. I'm going to call it working, moving these whaleboats. What's it like in that competitive situation?
It's certainly a lot of work. You can take the boats out in more of a leisurely fashion, which is always very pleasant. Tuesday nights we tended to row out to Peyton. So that was always nice, and you get some endurance that way. But when you're under the gun and the pressure is on, it's certainly a lot of work. A 5-minute race will take it all out of you.
I'm sure it will. How many teams are involved? Have you got a count as to how, like the men's and women's teams are the same? Will the same rowers take part in the sailing race and in the Dabney Cup race, or
currently we have just one of our rowers is also participating in the sailing. Also one of our alternate rowers is in the sailing team for the women's, but I believe that the men's is most of the men in the rowing team are also sailing.
There's a little bit of overlap. The American team has the benefit of being based
home.
home.
Yeah.
So we're able to spread ourselves out a little bit more between the rowing and the sailing. As opposed to when we go over there to the Azores, those flights get expensive. So we try and have folks who are more versatile be on the rowing and sailing team, so it's fewer people going over. Similarly, when the Azoreans come here, again, with flight prices, they send over very versatile teams. So we're going to be having 12 individuals, 14 to 15 individuals coming over from Piku to race, and they're going to be essentially rowing and sailing,
sure.
As will most of the crew members from Fayal.
Mm-hmm. Look, it's a wonderful idea, and it's a way to spread culture and friendship and all of those kinds of good things that we should be doing with our friends and our neighbors, and I'm sure in some cases our family members who are coming from the Azores and all of that. What's this weekend like for the participants? Laura, why don't you tackle that one?
There's a tremendous amount of camaraderie, and building up to the days of the competition, there's certainly, that competitive edge and getting people riled up. The Azorean teams are certainly known for their team spirit. It's a lot of fun. It's all friendly competition. We've certainly made some lifelong friends just from the years. 3 of the girls in the team now, this is their 3rd regatta. Mm-hmm. So some of these people we've seen over the last 6 years, which is really special. That being said, we're always looking for people to come on and sort of take over the oars. We're always looking for people who are willing to participate. You don't have to be Azorean or Portuguese. One of our girls is Mexican, which she's very proud of. So it's a lot of fun, and it's certainly a great workout. So, for people who are looking for that extracurricular activity that has the added bonus of culture, this is certainly a place to turn.
You're listening to Townsquare Sunday on WBSM. I'm Jim Phillips. My guests are Sara Quintal and Lara Harrington, and they are here on behalf of the International Azorean Whaleboat Regatta, which is being held in New Bedford this year, September 6th through the 10th. I want to talk about for a moment about some of these other events that are happening. On Wednesday night, 6 p.m., there is a presentation at the Whaling Museum, and it's free. Azorean Whalers, a photographic retrospective opening reception and exhibit. And so that's a free event that people can come in and enjoy. On the 7th, there's the story of the Bella Vista and resurgence of the Azorean whaleboat, reception and lecture by international boat builder Lance Lee. That is also at the Whaling Museum, and that is free. So that is a wonderful start to this event. People can come in and learn about not only the event, but also history regarding these boats. Now, for many years, Sara, I think I talked with you about this on the phone before we went on the air. For many years, these Azorean whaleboats have been built, or at least several have been built, in New Bedford. They've been built in a building located on, I guess, North Water Street. At least that's where the entrance was. And because of some renovations at the Whaling Museum changes, I think they have to move at some point. Maybe they already have.
We have, yes. So our boathouse, also known as the Casa dos Bots, was on Whaling Museum land up until late 2013, and that is where 2 whaleboats, the only 2 Azorean whaleboats to have been built here in the U.S., were constructed between between 98 and 99. They were launched in 2000. The first boat is the Bella Vista, so that's the one that's going to be the topic of discussion on Thursday night. Right. So here in the U.S., we have the only 3 Azorean whaleboats right here in New Bedford, and we'd love to continue to build boats, but we need a new boathouse. So when the Whaling Museum's wing got constructed, we relocated, and we've sort of been bouncing around a little bit the past few years as we search for our new forever home. So that'll be something that we hope to have built within the next year or so.
I hope you have luck in finding a permanent location.
Thank you.
What is it about these whaleboats that makes it special? Now, I don't want to take away from the presentation on Thursday, but what is it that makes it special? These boats, well, first off, they're really handcrafted. I mean, that's when you talk about something that's handcrafted, these boats are handcrafted. They are made by people who know what they're doing and take special care to make them special things, special items. What is special about them, at least in terms of someone who's familiar with these boats? What do you think about them?
Well, the amazing thing about these boats is, number one, their size. They're 40 feet long and entirely made out of wood. And these boats were used to hunt whales by hand with harpoons, whales that oftentimes were double the size of these boats. If you saw the movie like In the Heart of the Sea or Moby Dick, you'd get a feel for the size of these small boats in comparison to a whale. And obviously it's not something that, we're sort of glad that whaling no longer exists, but it is very much a part of our heritage. Not just Azorean heritage, but also New England, and specifically New Bedford as the whaling capital of the world. So there was a lot of interplay between Azorean whalers who came here to New Bedford to be part of the whaling industry, but they also did it over there. And so it's one of our shared connections between the Azores and New Bedford. And I personally had 2 uncles who were whalers when they were very young. So when I'm in one of these boats, I really feel connected to my past, to my family's heritage, to the heritage of our city. And I am absolutely amazed every time when I look at the size of these boats, even though they feel so big when you're sitting in them, to kind of think about what they used to be used for and what a risk to life and limb that was, that the men who went out to whale to feed their families risked their lives every single time.
So how much practice has been going on, Laura? We don't want to get skunked next weekend.
Well, like I said, there is a healthy level of competition between the teams. The women's team, personally, we go out 5 hours a week. We do 2 hours Tuesday night, 2 hours Sunday morning, and 1 hour intensive on Thursday mornings. Today was officially our last Thursday morning practice, which is sad, but the days are really dark in the morning now. The men have a few hours. They have a lot more brute strength for sure. But like I said, the women have been practicing together for a few years, so we mean business. We're in it to win it for sure.
So have the Azorean rowers, have they arrived yet?
They will be arriving next Tuesday.
Okay.
So we will be rolling out the red carpet for them once they
Plenty
arrive.
Plenty of food and drink. Good idea.
Definitely.
Because after all, if we're going to do this, we'd like to win. But there are different categories, I would guess. Or is everyone pretty much a serious boater taking part in this? Like, there's no children's races, right? When we're talking about
it's
adults
all one
here.
level, yeah.
And everybody has been seriously working at it and all of that. I mean, that's great. What makes a good rower, Laura? What?
Well, I think the first thing that makes someone a good rower is the team spirit, being able to work well in a team. Everything you do has to be in sync with everybody on the boat. So you really, aside from building strength, you have to learn your rhythm. Your boat steerer is your coach, is your leader, and you have to work well with that person as well. We've been very fortunate on our boat. We work really, really well together. We have all levels of strength, but together as a unit, we're very strong. So that's definitely being able to work as a team is number one.
Sara, anything you want to add? What makes you a good rower?
Well, I think Lara nailed it for the rowing side of things. For the sailing, it's obviously a little bit of a different skill set. There's a little bit more agility required in how quickly you move on a boat. Not so much how fast you row or how rhythmically you row, but the communication and making sure that you are in tune with the wind in your sails and are keeping these boats from falling over because these boats don't have a keel, which means they are very tippy,
Sure.
which means they roll very, very easily, particularly when there's an unexpected gust of wind that comes by. So we do have a variety of weight of people that we move onto the boat, depending if it's a particularly windy day or a light day, because weight on the rail does matter during these races, as does tactics. It's the sailing part is very tactical as far as how you move around the race course and edge in front of people, whereas with rowing, it's more about speed. With sailing, it's not just speed, it's tactics as well.
The Dabney Cup, quickly. What is that? What's the Dabney Cup?
So this is the second time we're going to be doing the Dabney Cup, and it's a new race that was really spearheaded by the Whaling Museum back in 2013 when they had a new, fresh fleet of Yankee boats. So it's a competition in which we put these 30-foot-long Yankee-style whaleboats against the 40-foot-long Azorean boats. And each boat has their pros and cons, which makes it a pretty good competition when you put them up against one another.
Sure. All right. Final question. What do each of you feel is the highlight of the weekend going forward? Lara?
Definitely the friendships.
Yeah.
Just being with everybody from the Azores, it's beyond wonderful.
Sarah?
Certainly the camaraderie of bringing everyone together, particularly with the feasts of food that are going to be spread out between all of these days.
Very good. Look, there's free events. We told you Wednesday the 6th at the Whaling Museum and Thursday the 7th at the Whaling Museum. There are some ticketed events as well on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Where should people go to get more information about those events, Sarah?
AzoreanMaritime.org is our website in which folks can get more details about the events and purchase tickets right online. And if they happen to bump into anybody who's on the crew, we're all wearing our shirts these days, so we stick out in the crowd. They can ask anyone who looks like they're a part of it.
All right. These ticketed events are dancing and food and folkloric dancers, and the awards ceremony is Sunday evening at 5 p.m. 6th through the 10th. It's coming right up.
Yes.
September 6th through the 10th. The International Azorean Whaleboat Regatta being held in New Bedford. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Lara. And good luck. Special weekend coming up.
Thank you
you
so much.